Greetings, Dota fans, and welcome back to Starladder America coverage for Season 10. We're here with the playoffs, the first day of this double elimination bracket between the final four teams, one of which will be moving on to Kiev, so lots on the line today. No elimination matches, but we do have two great best-of-threes coming up for y'all, first of which, Evil Geniuses versus the Sneaky Nyx Assassins. I'm Sayori in the studio and joined remotely by David Parker, a.k.a. BTS Gods. Gods, what's the good word on this fine Monday?
I'm looking forward to some playoffs action here in Starladder. The group stages come for an end, not for just America, but for China as well. So we're getting to the nitty-gritty of things. We're going to find out who's going to Kiev in just a few days' time, and that's exciting stuff.
It certainly is. In the American region, of course, EG are the heavy favorites, but the Sneaky Nyx Assassins have put up a lot of good games, and like I said, this is a double elimination, so there is a little bit of a margin for error. Even if you take a tumble today, there's still that hope to claw your way back from the loser's bracket.
Yeah, it's a slightly forgiving format, and I think it's a format which helps EG because it means even if, for whatever reason, you have a really good day and you take a BO3 off EG, well, guess what? They're coming back at you from the lower bracket, so it's a pretty scary thought for the other three teams that you're going to have to beat EG twice, or someone else is going to have to beat EG, and then you're probably going to have to beat them as well. So it's tough for any of these other three teams. Like you say, they're very heavy favorites. Like they would be probably 90-95% favorites to win this, but hey, that small chance that they don't make it is what these other three teams are hoping for.
Yeah, definitely. And before we talk about this draft, two things important to note. One, TC is doing the drafting for the Sneaky Nyx Assassins today, and they do have a stand-in on this very important day of Starladder. Whitebeard will be here in the place of Way Too Sexy. So a stand-in that they're familiar with. He was an OG of the original Sneaky Nyx Assassins before Fluff and TC came on over, as well as Way Too, but still unfortunate to have a stand-in on a day like this.
He's the disruptor expert. I hope they pick him disruptor. That's like his hero. That's all I remember from the TI4 American qualifiers was Whitebeard disruptor. And as far as America's concerned, that is. And,
yeah.
Well, it is still in the pool, but maybe a bit too early. We're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know how good disruptor is against Jakiro Death Prophet. I don't think it's particularly useful.
Yeah, there's still hope that EG may pull out a Wisp, and then they'll be playing right into the Sneaky Nyx Assassin's hands, and they'll be able to grab that disruptor to much avail. But EG, they'll start off with some pretty potent pushing power. Death Prophet and Jakiro, two heroes that don't need too much introduction. SNA grabbed the Razor out of the gate. Viper, one of those irritating lane dominators. But here's where things get interesting. They will third pick the Alchemist.
I like this kind of a pick. You kind of need these good gankers when you're going up against Death Prophet. I kind of harp on a bit about how much you want to be ganking and shutting down Death Prophet, but it's really important, especially when you go for an opening like Razor Viper. Your late game's not that secure. I don't like these two heroes together normally, but if you get some good early roaming, some great ganks, and get some momentum, these two can work. The main problem with picking these two heroes up straight off the bat is EG kind of know your lanes right away, because Viper and Razor, like one will go mid and one will probably go safe lane. There isn't really much room for flexibility. The only thing you can do to mix it up is go for an offensive tri-lane with the Razor, but that's a very risky move and not something SNA will be kind of planning off the bat when they pick up the Razor.
Yeah, so roaming Alchemist, I guess that's where he's best. Would you say like position 4 Alchemist is probably the best way to run him in this current meta?
Yeah, I think so. I think you could even run him as a position 5, like if you want to be a bit greedy and have like an Enigma jungle. I think you could still run position 5 Alchemist, but I think strongest is position 4.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's an okay mid hero. In some games, I think he fits mid, but there's just like the kind of heroes we're seeing. Like you don't want him going mid against heroes like Death Prophet. That's all.
Yeah, it seems like mid against melee heroes is his bread and butter, but those ranged heroes, he struggles a little bit. Evil Geniuses will grab the Weaver, though, and a pretty good game for it. He tends to shine in games where the opposition don't have too much in the way of lockdown, and, well, the Sneaky Nyx Assassins really don't. Razor and Viper give you nothing in terms of countering the Viper. In fact, Weaver, quite good against the Viper. All those slows, he can just shikuchi away at max movement speed and usually mount some sort of an escape. Rubik will help a little bit. Stealing shikuchi from the Weaver is very irritating and gives Rubik some little fun trickery that can come about, and telekinesis not too bad, but I do like this third pick from Evil Geniuses. A little bit atypical from what we've seen in recent matches.
Yeah, I think BPD just deciding, as you
Reserve
said, great
time.
against Viper as well as Razor. So
10
not
seconds
going to be an easy
remaining.
hero to deal with necessarily. And even though Rubik, it kind of
Dire
makes Rubik
team
stronger.
ban.
Rubik doesn't help necessarily in killing the Weaver without the
Hmm.
damage output, which SNA don't have a huge amount of. But
Yeah.
we'll see EG pick up the Sand King. So likely going to be a support Sand King. We'll see maybe Zai playing it in the 4
10
position.
seconds remaining.
Jakiro, this is as far as EG concerned, like going to be
5
maybe a
seconds
universe offlane
remaining.
Jakiro. Put him in that kind of 3 position Jakiro, maybe run some dual lanes because Weaver doesn't need
Reserve
the 2
time.
supports in the safe lane. Could potentially even leave Fear kind of very much on his own with the Weaver because I think the main I guess use of EG's resources early game as far as supports are concerned is often going to be protecting Arteezy in the mid lane on the Death Prophet. Weaver doesn't
Hmm.
need too much as far as supports go.
Yeah, and this should be pretty good for Zai if he was the one to play the Sand King in terms of having space in the jungle. On Radiant
10
side, you've got that
seconds
nice
remaining.
hard camp next to the medium camp that's kind of tucked away
Evil
and
geniuses
somewhat
turn
safe
to
from
ban.
roaming supports. Not too often they'll go that deep into enemy territory to try and contest your farm, so should open up some space for the Sand King, and I would love to see an offlane Jakiro. I think that would be interesting, though. I'm not totally convinced that that's what they'll do here. There's still
Dire
a lot of good
team pick.
offlaners that Universe could go for. His Void's been banned out, but well, you never know. Universe Darkseer could be an option.
I yeah, there's no. Oh, yeah. Apart from the Jakiro, like you could easily Jakiro could be the offline, but you more traditionally you go Jakiro Sanking support and get something like the Darkseer. It's been a long time since I've seen the Universe Darkseer. That would definitely be
10
something
seconds remaining.
a great way to kick off the Starladder America playoffs. But
Yeah,
5 seconds
I'd say
remaining.
no,
so.
Naga ban. I guess they're worried about a support Naga Siren.
Reserve
EG have
time.
run like they pick up the Naga early, and teams kind of got misled into think he
5
was an
seconds
Arteezy Naga, and then
remaining.
suddenly EG's like, oh, support Naga, we'll get something else and go from there.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they
Evil
could also be thinking
geniuses
it's an
turn to
off-lane
pick.
Weaver with a safe lane Prophet, support Jakiro, and then that opens up an Arteezy Naga in the mid, which could have been an option. So,
yeah,
a couple different takes on the Naga, but they will settle on the Earthshaker. Some more lockdown to help deal with this Weaver, and this is a pretty good one for it. I know you're a big fan of the Earthshaker in general, but I think he works well against max movement speed heroes. But as we've said before, you can move as fast as you want. If you're locked in a corner, doesn't really make much of a difference.
10 seconds
yeah.
remaining.
Makes me wonder a bit how Snar gonna plan on laning this one.
Ooh.
There's your universe hero. I want to say Elder Titan.
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm. Okay.
Hmm. Interesting.
Oakland's amplifying up all your team's damage when you've got great damage dealing heroes in the form of Weaver and Death Prophet, even your supports. Pack a punch. Definitely not something to underestimate, but
Yeah.
I, I'm more curious about the Snarl aspect because this puts probably Alchemist onto a core role, maybe in the kind of 3 position off lane, and
Yeah.
he can kind of do that because of the Earthshaker. You fissure block the way back, and you can run some of these less conventional offlane heroes. Although Alchemist at this point maybe not even considered an unconventional offlaner. I know Universe has been playing a lot of Alchemist offlane, at least in his
10
pub games, even
seconds
if not so
remaining.
much in competitive just yet. But I think it's something that Universe believes is definitely very viable.
Hmm. Yeah, the only issue here is he will be on the Dire side. So as we've come to see, the
Prepare for
Dire
battle.
offlane is a little trickier with heroes like this. Not so bad for like your Nature's Prophet, who can kind of pull lane aggro and do some fancy stuff with the creeps. But like you said, the Earthshaker will allow him to get some lane control early on, assuming he blocks out. And maybe that's all Mike will need to get off to the right start and get that Alchemist snowball rolling. But yeah, we'll see. Looks like we'll have a bit of a pause here, though. Someone having some connection issues. Or no, oh,
Whoopsie.
scrolling issues. Oh my, yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've actually had that issue before. I don't know what causes it, but makes the game pretty unplayable, that's for damn sure.
I had friends who just don't even use edge scroll. They either use like the middle mouse button or they use like hotkeys to move the camera, and I'm just like, that's absurd. That's not how
Yeah.
you play. That's not how you play video games. What is this?
I've seen people posting on Reddit that they use like World of Warcraft type hotkeys, like ASWD to move the camera around and then build
Yeah.
all of their other hotkeys around it, which is just that feels very strange, but I don't know. I guess old habits die hard if you're like an MMO player.
Well, nothing like some early shots fired at the fellow teammates from Fear to get things started here in America.
All right, so we'll have a test here, see if this fixes PPD's issues, and, well, not an immediate repause, so it looks like we're good to go. So it's not quite set up here properly in-game, but this is a best-of-3, folks. Everything in this tournament is best-of-3 all the way to the grand finals. No best-of-5 winner's advantage, but every single series will be BO3. So very easy to follow and understand, double elimination format. Pretty good stuff. So here we go. The good luck, have fun's come out. We're ready to rock and roll. It will be Zion the Sand King on the side of Evil Geniuses, probably doing some work in the jungle here. Fear will take the safe lane Weaver. That puts our TZ mid on the Death Prophet. PPD on the what appears to be roaming Jakiro. And Universe off lane on the Elder Titan.
Yeah, a very strong draft overall. Pretty typical EG. They definitely not going for. I think the Death Prophet. I mean, as Fear joked, one of TZ's 2 heroes at the moment, next to the Razor as far as his patch is concerned. But the Elder Titan coming out, the support Sand King, not something we're seeing a lot of. But all in all, I think a very comfortable draft for EG.
Yeah, I think that's a good word for it. And we saw an Elder Titan just the other day, actually, but it was to counterpick the Morphling. I feel like that's the... I think it was in Starladder SEA that I was casting with either... I think I was casting with K-Pop-Tosis, actually. And yeah, that's kind of his big niche right now. Counters the Morphling really hard with that natural order, and that's kind of the only time I've seen Elder Titan. I'll be excited to see how he works for EG as just kind of a casual pick here. But on the side of the Sneaky Nyx Assassins, we've got Ush on the position 1 Viper up in the top lane. Their stand-in today, Whitebeard, will be on the roaming Rubik, headed towards the top lane. TC will take the Lightning Revenant Razor towards the mid. IX Mike will be off lane on the Alchemist. We'll see Fluff and Stuff here on the Earthshaker, already off to some trickery, does block out the creeps, and this is kind of what we were talking about. We'll give Mike a little bit of an edge, as he will at least get some experience and hopefully some farm in this first lane of creeps, but that range creep sneaks by.
I think it was intentional just so it dies first. He could have fissure blocked the entire way, so that was intentional from him. But the big thing here for me was TC's block mid was not very good. TC has a big advantage in this mid lane entirely because of the block, and this is important for a Razor especially because it means TZ to move up. He has gone for the boots first build, which is going to allow him to not get static link, but without these boots, he would be getting crushed right now. So it's not going to be as bad as TZ would have liked. Well, he doesn't want it to be bad, but it's not going to be as bad as it could have been. But TC's still going to be off to a good start here because of his block.
Yeah, the boots first, very core against Razor indeed. Bottom lane seems to be going okay for EG. Mike did get some okay lane control and found his level 2, so that's a step in the right direction, but in the way of last hits, why is my graph not organized properly here? There we go. So, yeah, not finding a hell of a lot outside of some experience, but I guess that's really what you hope for is a dire off-laner. Fear will be racking up the free farm, no problem there, and up top, us shouldn't have too much of a problem farming against this Elder Titan. Universe will just be leeching experience and doing slightly better than IX Mike out of the gate. So,
it's the problem. Like, you get that first wave of experience with the Earthshaker block, but after that, they do go for a pull and they mess up the equilibrium completely, and now Mike's going to have a tough time. He can stack Ancients, he can try and disrupt the pulls, the double pulls that are going on, and with the boots first, not the easiest kill for an Alchemist Jakiro until they get some levels, if he's contesting pulls, but if Fear comes in, Mike goes down.
So Universe grabs a Haste Rune here at the 2-minute rune mark, and will just come mid, punches Razor a couple of times, and then just scurries his way back towards the top lane, it looks like, and just cruising around in circles. Only level 2, so not really a lot of kill potential, but just being annoying. Anytime TC comes up to the creep wave to last hit, zoning him out, and even though Universe isn't getting much out of this, he's creating a lot of space for RTZ and making his mid-experience a lot easier.
Yeah, that's a smart decision from Universe when he gets a rune like the Haste. This just probably got RTZ like a good free 5 or 6 CS, as well as prevented TC from getting about the same. Not to mention, TC wasn't even getting some experience during that time, so Universe, he wasn't going to do much top lane with the lane pushed out as much as it was, and make sure he's being useful somewhere in the map. Yep. It's still like which rune do you get? Because Mike is camping the bottom 2-minute rune every time, but unfortunately Mike isn't getting as lucky as Universe is when it came to the runes.
Yeah, not yet at least. Only one has come out, but we'll see. Maybe things will shift in favor of old Alchemist here. He just starts roaming about. He stacks up the Ancients to a double stack, and now he'll just move into the jungle and rendezvous with Fluff and Stuff. They are at the high ground here. No smoke available. So they may look for a rotation mid, but I don't think they'll be able to find something successful on RTZ unless they do choose to smoke up. There is a ward on the high ground outside of the Radiant Ancient, so Our Tor is pretty well covered from ganks in this direction.
Yeah, I feel like they need a smoke for this one. They haven't dewarded the Observer Ward in the offlane as well, so any sort of ganks up there are going to be very tricky, although Universe has completely vacated top lane, so at this point, Mike and Fluff need to bring out a smoke to gank mid lane, I imagine. It is nighttime, though, so 4 minutes hits, so nighttime comes, and maybe a gank on mid lane is possible, but good ward coverage from EG. They're very prepared for this.
Yeah, invisibility rune spawns up top. That ancient ward really comes in handy, so they'll see Rubik pick it up, and with this, Arteezy should be able to position himself appropriately, stay in the south portion of the lane, kind of around this line or more south of it, and just kind of hug the tower. So he may have to play a little more passive coming up for the next moments. Rubik will actually rotate top, hoping that Universe is just kind of hugging the tower and hiding away, maybe susceptible to a gank, but he will be in the jungle, just looking for some stray last hits, probably working towards a soul ring there with that Sage's Mask. Zai having a lot of fun in the jungle. He is now level 4, finds that second point in the Sandstorm, which really opens up your possibilities jungle-wise. 875 gold on top of his brown boots at 5 minutes. Looks like he could be well on his way to a decently timed Blink Dagger. Looks like he's got a stack to retreat to. Big Wild Wing and
trying to get that next stack. This will be close. Will he get... he's going to get the triple stack. Yeah. He was very late to get that pull. I mean, he had to finish off the previous big camp, but getting another stack off of that, some good efficiency. And this is going to be a pretty fast Blink Dagger from Zai. And I like that he's just going to be farming away for the Blink Dagger because Snar are looking... They're going to have a pretty fast mech on Ush. He's completely free farming the safe lane now. He's about to get the tier 1 tower, which will be a big boost to his gold. Should he get this, and there's going to be some strong 5-man, let's push down tower after tower Dota coming out of the sneaky Nyx assassins, and that's where having a fast blink on Sand King's going to help a lot as far as defending towers goes.
Yeah, definitely. An early mech will also assist in that. I don't know that EG will really rush one here. I guess Universe is best suited to be the mech carrier on that Elder Titan, and it'll be a long while before he grabs one. And potential first blood coming out as Universe finds this little spot in the trees. Beautiful juking. Ush taking a lot of tower shots. He will still go down. PPD comes in, connects with the dual breath. Liquid Fire's on there, but no Ice Path. It'll be enough to bring him down and find the counter kill. The sneaky Nyx assassins draw the first blood, but EG's right there with the counter.
That was some strong juking from Universe there, using that little... You can hide in those trees, and it forces the Viper to dive so deep under the tower. So just knowing his Radiant offlane and forcing Viper to commit very deep for that one.
Yep.
Maybe Jakiro probably could have TP'd like a couple seconds sooner, I guess, is the one thing where EG maybe messed up a little bit. Even if Universe maybe still dies, I think PPD was a little slow in the TP.
Yeah, the good thing, though, about PPD getting that solo kill is he found a lot of experience. He's now level 5 off that, and Zai being in the jungle means his experience is nothing to scoff at. He's finding level 6. Meanwhile, on the Dire side, you've got a level 3 Earthshaker, a level 4 Rubik, and your offlaner is only level 4 as well. So that puts EG a nice jump ahead in terms of experience, about 2,200, and they've already got about a 2,000 gold lead. Again, a lot of that coming out of the jungle. But SNA will look to close the gap as they pressure the top tier 1 tower quite hard. Just barely out of deny range as Universe connects with an Echo Stomp, finding a very early point there. You'll see a lot of Elder Titans go 0-4-4-0. And here he's prioritizing the sleep. I like it.
Yeah. Maybe just the one value point, but even so, this is maybe going to prevent this tower going down.
I mean, look at how much they're delaying here. Now Fluff gets caught in the Ice Path. The Dual Breath just barely connects. Will be forced to throw out a defensive fissure. Can they find the deny? No. Ush will grab the last hit on the tower as the Viper. But still delaying them quite a bit and almost setting up a potential kill if that Jakiro could have put out just a little more damage. So yeah. I think still a valuable point on the Elder Titan.
Yeah, I don't imagine he gets more points in it, at least not until much later on. But as you said, very valuable point to get early on. He's going to have backup TPing in, and he's got great setup for a Sand King or a Jakiro, be it the Ice Path, the Burrow Strike, an Epicenter. And when you know your opponents are going for this 5-man push, sure, having just constant Astral Spirit spam is nice, but being able to actually initiate in with the Stomp, he has gone for a second point in the Stomp. I'm completely wrong there. He's gonna start leveling it up and says,
okay. So
forget the other spells.
Looking at a value point in natural order, that is completely different from, I guess, what would be your quote-unquote standard Elder Titan. That's usually the primary ability, even if you don't go for the 0-4-4. It's that natural order that everyone gets caught up on for the huge base armor reduction. So we'll see how this plays out for Universe. So far, so good, but pretty standard stuff from EG in terms of doing things their own way.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I think all in all, EG there, they're ahead, and the one risk is just losing tower after tower to get SNA back into this game. Viper about 500 gold away from his mech, and
Dire's bottom tower is
there's
under attack.
just this strong 5-man potential coming out of a draft with Viper, Razor, Alchemist with the acid spray to help some people out, and that's where they're like, okay, well, I think the Echo Stomp is actually going to be more useful than the Natural Order as far as defending goes. So yeah, it's a nice little adaptation from Universe with the offlane.
Yeah.
Elder Titan and.
Yeah. Now, Zai has picked up his Blink Dagger just shy of the 9-minute mark. So you talked about how valuable of a tool that can be in defending the 5-man push. He'll soon have his Epicenter. We'll either grab it at level 8 or level 9, depending on if he feels he needs it. I guess sort of pending what the Sneaky Nyx Assassins do in the next couple minutes. But it'll be EG that start the grouping up here in the bottom lane. And with a close to maxed out Liquid Fire, it is level 3. They should be able to do some decent damage to this tower.
Yeah, it's EG's pushing power not seem to be scoffed at as well, and that's the other way they can kind of deal with SNA's lineup is if they group up, go for pushes, you kind of push the other lanes with Liquid Fire, with Fear offering a decent amount of damage as well. Now he's already got his Midas work on his Lincoln Sphere, so they can stall this push, drop down the Acid Spray, but PPD will just keep walking in, throwing the Liquid Fire whenever possible.
Yep, one of the great things about the Jakiro, just commencing that slow siege there. Fear did go for a very fast Midas on the Weaver, actually rushed it before Boots, went into the Basilius, and now has his Perseverance complete. So we'll just transition into a Lincoln Sphere, then start building up some of the damage items. There's your mech on the Viper, and that's the big one that SNA have assumedly been waiting for before they really start grouping up and commencing the team fighting. But now they are in pretty good 5-man shape. We have not seen an ultimate come out of Arteezy yet. He is level 9, so has the maxed out Witchcraft and Crypt Swarm. So EG, they have some team fight potential here as well.
Yeah, the big thing for SNA is their lineup really just does one thing right now, which is kind of tries to take team fights or 5-man push towers. They're not good. They can't really out farm EG with these heroes, and they also can't really out push them. I don't feel. So they need to try to find team fights.
And mid lane, Razor will take an unfortunate defeat as Arteezy uses the ultimate, and Zai's there to show off his Blink Dagger and connect with a stun. They'll now use the Exorcism to pressure this mid-tier 1. Jakiro there with the Liquid Fires. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Universe just stalling as long as he can, connects with another Echo Stomp. And I think this bottom tower is destined to fall, but at least delaying them long enough that EG can trade a tower for tower and not give the Sneaky Nyx Assassins any opportunity to TP back and make a defense.
Dire's top tower is under
the SNA lineup just doesn't have much versatility and can't really move around the map very well. I think that's one of the main weaknesses of this Viper Razor opening is that these heroes don't really flash farm. They can't keep up with in the late game as far as farming goes with EG's lineup, and they also just can't move around and try and like if EG are going for a push, they can't suddenly TP in there and go for a good setup. And SNA really, their setup is going to come from the Earthshaker and the Alchemist, who also are not particularly mobile in this game. But it's not all hope is lost. They've got to get some good 5v5 team fights. It's just going to be really tricky when Sand King's got such an early Blink Dagger up and EG have such a good team fight of their own.
Yeah, they have great team play, and they also kind of have the late game secured with this Weaver farming out of control, topping the net worth chart. We'll see up top initiation onto IX Mike. They won't be able to bring him down quite yet. He has the Chemical Rage there to top him off. Now TC pressing forward. Fear will just make the escape. Fear is not really in fighting shape quite yet. Midas Perseverance, not particularly scary items, even lacking boots. But down in the bottom lane, Fluff and Stuff and Ush pressuring this tower quite hard. Universe doing everything he can to quell their pushing efforts. But his options are limited here. He is level 6. Earth Splitter's on cooldown. And there will be a TP in from Zai. They'll do about half damage to the tower. Zai misses the stun on Fluff. Ooh, that hurts a little. Fluff. Potential to fall there, though. There was a mech on the Viper. Ultimately, they got what they wanted, and that is stopping the push on their tier 2.
Yeah. I don't think they get the kill with the mech on the Viper there anyways. And EG not going to be too worried. They're farming elsewhere.
Arteezy. He's in some trouble. He'll get blocked out, and well, it's an Arteezy sandwich. He'll just try to TP home, recognizing that's not happening. We'll just go and try and make a run for it. Not going to buy anything. He has actually spent all his unreliable gold. There you go. Gets the Yule's recipe and the TP scroll. So limiting his losses there at least a little bit. And I think he still lost some gold, actually. But still.
Right into Roshan.
Yeah. Step in the right direction now. Yeah, knowing the Death Prophet's down. No Exorcism. They'll use their minus armor, and this should be a pretty easy Roche. Medallion and Acid Spray will make this very, very easy.
Titan's going to give him hell, though.
Yeah.
Oh my. Oh my.
Uh-oh.
Please, no.
Forces out the mech from Ush thanks to the Echo Stomp. But I don't know. Will EG actually try to contest this? They're smoked up, headed over. Zai does have an ultimate at the ready. Roche with fair amount of hit points still standing. Universe will scout this out, looking at the Radiant Vision. They know exactly what's going on. Zai goes straight in and, well, maybe bites off a little more than he can chew. Doesn't use the ultimate quite yet. Gets off the Sandstorm to stay alive. PPD doing as much damage as he can. Even the Macro Pyre comes down in the middle of the fray. And right now, EG just trying to buy time. They'll lose PPD, but Zai channeling the ultimate off to the side. Will come in. Burrow strike onto TC. Finds the kill on the Razor. Whitebeard getting low. He'll survive, but the Fissure is there to bring down the Sand King. Roche may still go down. Buyback from Zai. Arteezy's back in the party and now gets telekinesis, but he has an exorcism ready. Will deploy it. And it looks like SNA won't be able to finish off Roche. They're starting to back up. Fluff and Stuff dies off to the side. Whitebeard gets stunned up. Ush goes down as Roche helps out Arteezy with the damage. And now things looking grim for the dire side. There was a buyback from the Razor, but it's not enough. Roche goes down to the Radiant. Arteezy picks up the Aegis, and SNA get completely repelled.
Well, if there are any doubts about Universe's skill build, he stalled Roshan so long with that Echo Stomp. It's got only a 15-second cooldown, so getting 2 stomps off in the Roshan pit to delay that allowed EG to contest it, and, well, they end up with Roshan, they end up with the Aegis. That was a big loss for the Sneaky Nyx Assassins.
Yeah, it really was. And now just looking at the graph, 7,500 gold, almost 10,000 experience. That was going to be their big recovery mechanism to commence the team fighting with an Aegis in tow. And now it's looking a bit more grim. TC in the top lane, about to get jumped on. Zai blinks over the tree line, misses the stun, but it doesn't matter. There's nowhere for TC to go. PPD connects with an Ice Path, a Dual Breath, even a Macro Pyre to bring down the Razor. And EG will be successful in their killing efforts.
All right, well, for EG, this is... they've got a really kind of just stronghold on this game now. After taking out Aegis and Roshan, now we're really kind of banking on maybe getting an Aegis, being able to just go for that stronger 5-man takedown towers. But with Aegis in the hands of EG, on the death profit of all heroes, suddenly SNA just lose all ability to control this game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What do you do in terms of trying to turn this around, though? Viper has the mech, now moving into an Aghanim Scepter. TC trying to rush the Ags, but I use the word rush very loosely here, as all he has is a point booster 16 minutes in. He's not really that close. I mean, is there like an item build you can hope for? What's the general strategy that SNA need to try and regain some momentum here, Gods?
And they're not going to be able to push, not into EG's heroes with their levels now, so it's going to be a combination of being as efficient as possible, defending these lanes, because I don't think EG necessarily will be grouped up as 5. Like right now they've got 2 heroes top, 1 farming mid, and also ganking these small EG parties, because EG not grouped up means you need to try and find these efficient ganks, and just, I mean, you're not going to win the farming game late game, but you need to spend the next 5 minutes trying to find pickoffs here and there, use some smokes and get some nice little kills on key heroes. Mike is going to be farming an Ancient stack. I mean, this isn't really that... I mean, this is much needed gold for Mike, but this isn't something which is going to turn around the game by any means. But once they're in position, they need to go for some kills. And they tried to at top. They smoked up here, but it looked like Elder Titan, who was up there, just TP'd out and is back to safety.
Yeah. Just good game sense from Universe, recognizing he's in kind of deep. There's a few heroes missing off the map, and we'll just TP home, picks up his Force Staff, and now the Elder Titan has a lot more mobility and can afford to be perhaps in some riskier situations. The real problem for the Sneaky Nyx Assassins is Fear. He's 0-0-1, hasn't really been involved in these team fights, and essentially SNA just been losing a 4v5 in terms of team fights. All that time, Fear's just been farming away, using that Midas. He's level 12, almost at the top, tied with Arteezy, and there's just nothing slowing down his farm. He's happy as a clam here, just racking up last hits around the map.
Yeah, and tower money coming his way as well now, with this bottom tier 1 potentially being acquired, and gets taken by PPD, but either way, this will just accelerate his next big item, most likely the Desolator, and I don't think they've got a good lineup for dealing with a Weaver in general. Rubik can steal Shikuchi, that's nice and all, but their 2 main core heroes, Razor and Viper, both do not match up well versus Weaver.
Yeah, that's as we pointed out in the draft, a smart choice from PPD. Not often you see a third-picked Weaver, but it just made so much sense here. SNA drafted as accordingly as they could, following up 3 heroes with some sort of a crowd control or stun, but so far hasn't really yielded much in the way of shutting down the sneaky Scarab. Earthshaker has found his level 6, so at least has an Echo Slam. Ush and Arteezy going blow for blow. Look at that. Arteezy. He's going to come out ahead just barely. Or not. Wow, the Corrosive just barely ticked him down. That was some pretty impressive kiting.
That was cute from RTZ. He was using the tree there, because if Viper could just keep on attacking, he wins that duel, but he was using the tree just to prevent Ush from getting those right clicks off, and his Ghost was still doing damage, so he's dishing out damage while Viper's not, and hey, he loses the Aegis, but that's a great trade from RTZ.
Yeah,
well played, sir. Well played.
And he gets a lot of experience out of that. I was just talking about that a moment ago, but he's now level 14, soon to be 15, and poor Viper, only at the very beginning of level 11. That's a big disparity that probably won't change anytime soon. Arteezy will just move over, pick up the Mystic Staff, probably turning into a Shiva's Guard, but a couple of options there. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Fear goes in onto Mike, connects with the Scarabs, and I don't know that he'll pursue too deep for this, but just flexing a little bit there, showing his strength, and will back out. Fear up to about 3,200 gold. What are you thinking here, Gods? What's the ideal item build for a Weaver in a game such as this?
The Desolator is just the most cost-effective damage output, so I'd be surprised if it's not a Desolator. No real need for an MKB against... MKB is still good, but there's no evasion heroes at this stage, so I think just the Desolator will be your standard Weaver build.
Yep. I can't disagree with that one. Blink Dagger will come up onto Mike's Alchemist, and now they have some more long-range initiation. Arteezy in the top lane will find himself in a sticky situation. Echo Slam from Fluff. There is limited potential for Arteezy to survive this one. Will connect with a Yules out on TC, but reaps the benefits or the negatives of the slow there, and wow, TC doesn't pursue.
That Drums build on Death Prophet, when you phase, you're at max movement speed, so...
Still, Fluff had a fissure off cooldown, and oh, sorry, as I'm looking at that, we'll miskill an Alchemist down bottom, but he had a fissure coming up. I think they definitely could have pursued it for a kill to interrupt the TP, but
he does. It's so hard to know where the Death Prophet goes with those jukes. Like that's why he uses TC. TC's the only one who can keep up with him with the phase boots and the 4 points in unstable current. But Fear at top, he's going to find a solo kill on TC, I think.
Yeah. Speaking of TC,
double damage rune.
Yeah, double damage Weaver is just. What can you do? What can you do? Best you can hope for is just to try and juke into the trees and TP out, but with that damage output, you can't really stand there and just take blows from him for too long.
Yeah. The one other thing Fear can do if he wants to be really ballsy is go for a straight Rapier. If they can secure an Aegis for him, like Lincoln's Rapier on Weaver, it sounds kind of YOLO, but it's actually, I mean, Rapier is very cost-effective damage. So
yeah, especially at this stage in the game, it's so early on. Yeah. Be pretty game breaking.
Radiance. He's actually going to go for the old school build with the Radiance, which is it's okay. It's not as cost effective as something like a Desolator, but it's much more, I guess, stable damage.
Yep. Rubik will fall in the mid lane as EG just group up once more. Mike TP's forward, connects with a stun on 2. Macro Pyre from PPD just to zone him back. And in comes Zai, connects with a stun onto Ush. There's Arteezy with the Exorcism, and now they'll look to try and commit to a team fight. Fluff looking for the right fissure, will just pump fake it and ultimately backs out. There is still a tier 2 tower standing here. It's EG just showing how aggressive they can be and how they have few fears in the world. Now Mike hops to the high ground, short duration stun onto Zai. Horse Staff will keep him safe and sound, will burrow strike to the low ground. And now SNA caught in this kind of odd position here where EG are ready to tighten the noose and sandwich him about, but instead they'll just converge onto PPD. He'll get telekinesis to start things off. And that will be a dead Jakiro. Whitebeard does manage to steal the Macro Pyre, so that's something. But will it be enough? Now the cavalry has arrived. The rest of EG coming in. Radiance is up on Fear. Zai taking a lot of damage from that fissure. They will lose their Earthshaker. And now Arteezy just tries to TP out. Zai goes for the survive as well. Fear has popped his ultimate, but still ready to continue fighting. There's a sentry down, and he has to be a little careful here. We'll move out of the range of it. And oh no, Mike stuns himself. Fear coming back in, looking to drop the hammer, as they say. Macro Pyre dual breath from around the side, but Zai, he never TP'd out. He comes back in. It'll cost him his life as Ush brings him down. The ultimate from our Universe softening him up even that much more. Now Fear just trying to play cleanup. 2 fights kind of breaking out as Fear brings down the Viper, and Razor will go down to the Jakiro. Now Fluff TP's right into the fray. They'll lose their Alchemist off to the side. Earthshaker will fall here. It looks like manages to get off the Echo Slam, doing a lot of damage, but Universe has him back, keeps him topped off, and Sneaky Nick's Assassins just in shambles. And this Rubik, nowhere for him to go. The Ice Path comes out. He'll get punched down by Universe, and it's a full team wipe. EG just running over him.
Yeah. EG reached that critical mass where Weaver just gets too strong, too scary with the Lincoln's Radiance. he just couldn't be dealt with in that fight. Even when he gets low, they haven't got the proper lockdown to deal with him. And GG, game 1 in the bag for EG, one step closer to Kiev.
Yep, absolutely. So this is a best of 3. I know the in-game wasn't set up properly, folks, but we've got at least one more game in this first series to get things started. EG with a pretty decisive win, 18-6 in only 24 minutes. I think it really just came down to the draft, though. That pick from PPD to grab the Weaver kind of just was the final nail in the coffin. It was great execution from EG across the board, but end of the day, SNA really just had no way to slow down Fear.
Yeah, no good answer to the Weaver, and as far as like shutting down Death Prophet went, didn't happen at all. So I think for SNA, the one big turning point was the Roshan fight. If SNA get that Aegis and then followed up with a couple of towers, they could have at least been on like okay semi-even footing. But even then, like you mentioned a few times, Weaver was just completely untouched in the safe lane. So I think even with securing that Aegis and getting a few towers with the Aegis, I don't think SNA would have. The game would have maybe lasted another 10-15 minutes, but I think we would be here with the same outcome.
Yep, agreed. So we'll have a quick break here, guys. Then game number 2 of Evil Geniuses versus SNA coming up next.